Hi there, Steve here again. I'm back in my shed. I'm glad you've wandered in. I've got another Game Gear to fix. This one's a little bit different to the others. This is the new screen from RetroKAI. I haven't opened this yet, so let's give it a quick look. It's the LCD panel. They're pretty standard across the whole range of screens. These are going to be handy. These are little 3D printed guides, so they go in the screen, so you know that you're going to align properly within the Game Gear and you're going to have your screen exactly where it should be. So I'm looking forward to using them as well. This is the board. And again, to the McWill and the usual clones, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit tight. Because this one comes in two parts. That's pretty standard. Nicely lined up, but standard enough. And this is a soldering guide, so you don't have to solder individual wires to the actual Game Gear motherboard. Okay, and this looks like quite a comprehensive instruction manual, which you don't really get with anything else. We don't want that one. So we've got installation guides for the VA1 and the VA0. Okay, so you see the VA1 is the one with just the one chip on. So these ones will have the twins. Okay. And another advantage with the RetroKAI screen is that there's only, I think, 3 components that you have to remove from here. So that's enough waffle. We'll get on with it. I'll try to keep the video short as possible. I will just show you what I'm doing and then fast forward through the rest of the procedure. Okay, first things, let's get into it. Before I start, I will get into this and just say that this is one from the 6 recap video that I did. So the recap's already complete and it just needs a new screen. You can see the caps have already been done and we know it's working. One other thing, I'm going to replace this power board with a USB-C power supply. It's much cleaner. You don't have to carry around a heavy transformer with you. It's just a simple cable. It plugs into any old phone charger. Okay, so here it is, USB-C, and it just pops in, everything fits. Okay, so from here I think we'll just start reading the instructions. We have the twin ASIC model, which is this one. So disassemble the Game Gear and remove the protective shell. Use scissors to cut the metal parts as shown on figure 1. Okay, well that's standard. Let's move this to the side. Not to use scissors. One way of doing it is to just bend in like this along that line. Sometimes these snip straight through, no trouble, and then other times they're rubbish. No, today they're rubbish. That. Now take off the centre peg. I just use my side cutters for this. It pops off easy enough. That's that. It's not flush, but it's more plenty. So what it needs to do is clear these. That's that. Next is remove the adhesive tape covering the screen connector flex ribbon, and then use your soldering iron at approximately 350 degrees C and add a bit of flux to gently unsolder it pad by pad without tearing it off. Well, we could do that quickly first. Just pop this back into place so I haven't got screws everywhere. Okay, I'm not going to clean it too much because it's got to have solder back on it. It's just to get rid of most of the sticky flux, but every single one of them is now ready to be soldered to. Which obviously we don't need, we only need solder 6. So we don't need solder 6 because we're on RetroKAI, but we still got to solder to this. Okay, next instruction is, it actually says, once the connector is unsoldered, we recommend clean the pads of tin residues with desoldering wick and a bit of flux to make the connector surface as flat as possible for the next operation. So basically I've just tinned that all up ready and it needs to be naked. So I will just get more wick. So, useless component removal. Remove our 2 coil, the original backlight tube, fuse 1, fuse 2. Okay, let's take the tube out first. Okay, so we just snip. The fuses. Can just get these off as well. The R29 and R30 is R30 and R29 and the coil. So we'll be removing this coil and then 2 resistors. Let's zoom in a bit. Removing this coil, these 2 resistors. Go. That's the coil. Okay, next, got the 34 volt wire that comes from the power board as short as you can. Well, that's a new one. What's this one then? It's definitely that one. It doesn't say to take it off both ends. So let's hope. So now it's the easy soldering guide, placement and soldering. Place the easy soldering guide by aligning the white circles with the cartridge slot. There's actually something in this. Well, there's actually some of the plate from off this solder point here, so I've just cut it flush there. Should be okay. So this one's thick as well. Can you see? Okay, so what I think this is when this board's manufactured, it's a solid board, and there'll be a complete fully plated through hole here, here and here, and then once it's complete, this gets routed out, and this will be on a big board with about 40-50 of these, and they all get routed out individually, and then that's another route. So I think possibly the router has got a blunt tool on it, and as it cuts across, it left some flakes of plating, because the plating's fine and they're still fully plated. So I'll check the rest of these routed bits here. Everything looks good. I will see how this works now. So when it's in place here, you've only got 6. You only have 6 solder points. And the solder will flow from here, it'll go round to the side of the board there, which will then solder to the correct pin there. So that's quite clever, I like that. Okay, so the first instruction is to solder the 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do is just pop a little bit of flux on. Right, I couldn't quite capture all that because I had to get my head in the way just to make sure everything was lined up spot on. So yeah, I started with that one, and to this one second just to make sure the alignment was right. The big one in there, that one takes a lot of heat because that's ground, and the 5 volt. And then you can see that these here are perfectly aligned. One there, that one, and this is different. D1, D2, D3. Now, generally they're all together when it's so pad 16, 18 and 20. All the ones that need aligning are aligned. And these are just to help you visually. You can see all of them straight down, they're fine. So the next instruction is solder the pads and then do a continuity test. No problem. Again, I think we'll go with a little bit of flux. So I think that's all it takes. So now we do a continuity test by the next pads on the board to the testing pads on the ESG. So we're going from this point here to CO2, yeah, and that's a failure. That's another failure. Just that one up again. Okay, that took a lot more solder than I thought, but that's bridge now, and I think what it was, it's not completely flat along there, so I think the amount of solder that was actually going on was too much to ask to cross that bridge. So that's that one. Right, so I've just been made a cup of tea, and whilst that's happened and my soldering iron went to sleep, I've changed the tip for a new one, which is a finer one. This is the finest one I got, and it's still not that fine. Just in the hope that we can just touch them a bit better rather than spreading it over the two. So I'll switch this back on. I'll condition the tip, and then I'll get on with soldering the rest. Okay, it's just coming up to temperature. And I'll put it into this tinning compound just to make the end better. So good soak in there, makes it lovely and shiny. Clean it once, dip it again. Again, and dip it again. So that's lovely. Pop some solder on it. We just put enough solder on so it's just bulging, everything's covered. You can pop it in there, then turn it off. You can leave it overnight, you can leave it for weeks, come back and it'll still be in as good condition as it is now. But that's not what this video is about. Not sure, so D0 to D0. Nope. I can see the bridge on that now. Fairly confident it will work, but what I'll do is check for shorts on the other pads. So D0, D0, that's fine. No short there, no short there. I've just zoomed in to try and show you how I'm having to do this. It's where the instructions say just to drag your soldering iron along to create the bridge here. It should be, see there to there, can't do it because the bridge has to be much bigger than just a simple drag. So what I'm having to do is actually build the solder up to go from the top to the bottom. And then when I do that, that will short out 2 or 3 tracks, so then I'm having to clean off. So when I'm testing continuity, I'm testing between here and the test point, and also here and here, so each side, just to make sure nothing's shorting. So I'll try and show how I'm doing that on this one. So it should be solder on, drag it across, but it just doesn't get into the corners. So that's just done that one. I think that one will be good. That was a lot easier than the last ones. Maybe it's a bit of practice. So I'll try with D3. So on the DW it seemed to build up on the top. Then I could just drag it down to the bottom pad. It's not happening here. I think they might just be connected. Might have connected. Check it. So we'll do D3. Yep. No. And no. Then DW. Yep. No. No. So that's it. So perhaps with a little practice a bit easier. I mean, certainly them two were easier than these two. And D3 almost seemed to solder as it should. It's actually, the tricky part is actually getting right into the corner to make the bridge, because this is tin padded both sides. So really with a bit of flux and solder it should just flow, but it's not. Maybe next time, maybe it just needs more flux about the place. We'll find out the next time we do one. Anyway, that's in place and the connections are so far working. Next job. Place the magic screen circuit board as shown in figure 5 without fixing it for the moment. Solder 2 wires to connect points BL1 and BL2, unless you prefer to do it on the back side, and then connect the grey ribbon to... okay. He prefers it on the back side, not me. Okay, so using the supplied wire, which is something I don't usually do, but this is okay. Take a piece off. I like to use single core. Strip a bit back. Introduce it to the iron, which then should harden the tip of the plastic. And then trim off, so you've got a tiny bit to solder with. Then warm the pad up, and solder, warm the pad up, and solder, same here, Nope. And solder. Short the pins out. Remove solder. Warm the pin up. Add solder. Place two brackets as shown in figure 6 so that they will enclose the LCD screen, and then place the assembly on the Game Gear motherboard. Align the holes in the brackets with the holes on the motherboard as shown in figure 7. Well, that sounds easy. Let's turn this off a minute. Well, that's a nice snug fit. And this one. I see my mistake. Align the 4 holes with the magic screen with those of the Game Gear motherboard, and then the screen brackets, and screw all the segments together in order, starting with that one. This may be the trickiest part yet. So I've now got to align this one first with the hole in the motherboard, which is done. And then the hole here. Okay, there's a slight gap in the sandwich there where I'm going to just keep the wires for the brightness control. Not much of a hole there. It's a suggestion, I think. Right, so I've just done the holes in that because they're not very good, and then realised that this hasn't been cleaned yet. So I'm going to clean this up, give this a good clean before I get the screen on, because I don't want to be throwing alcohol around when the screen's on. Don't want to risk any damage. So I'm just using alcohol just to get rid of the excess flux that might be about the place. board's already had a good clean from when the capacitors were done. I think I can feel my hands getting sticky. I'm going to put some gloves on. Well, it's like fumbling around like a teenager trying to find the hole. I think that's it. Well, this is not what I expected. Just can sunk the holes a little bit, hopefully give me a little bit of a guide when I'm fumbling around. It's like trying to juggle jelly. There you go, much better. So now it's lined up, that's really quite easy. So we'll just go down to a pinch. Well, not even a pinch. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. Start to C30 or VA1. Oh right, so we're we've got VA0, so we're looking at this side to start to C30. Where's the one for button 1? Okay, so this one must only use the 2 buttons to cycle through the different resolutions. C30. If that was in shot. This one here, 229 and 30 is there. And then we want me to bridge T10, T11. T11. We've got the extraction on. Oh, then I was out of shot again. Anyway, T11 just behind there, T10 bridged. Here we go. Bridge 2 pads under the right RAM as it's shown in white on the PCB. Pads to bridge only if installed on VA0, which is this. So I just got to bridge them 2 pads. Well, apparently, that's it. Let's think, quick test before we put it all together. So usually these are pre-twisted, so they're just going the right way. So that was that's my excuse. The sound in as well. Now let's just do a screen test for this for now. Use Sonic because that's the standard test, isn't it? You all know what colour that should be. Okay, so let's turn on. Nothing so far. It's okay. Try another 2 or 3 times. It's flashing on enough. I think this will be alright. A bit longer that time. That's the timer to say the camera's going to run out of card in a minute. I'll try and keep this going for as long as I can so it's live. You know then that I haven't took it away and fixed it up. Just there's the brightness control. So we've got a green screen. What we haven't got is the screen I want. I'll check all the valves along the bottom again for continuity in a minute. Okay, that's slightly red. It's annoying when it's doing something different every time. Right, I'm going to go and have to empty the memory card. Leave that like that. And I'll come back and try it again. So, I had a quick look on YouTube and the wikis and what have you to find out this problem with the RetroKAI screen, and I can't find anything specific to this problem. I'll check all my solder points. There is supposed to be a wiki to troubleshooting wiki, so I can check that out, but I didn't take the instructions in with me, so I don't know what the link was. That's different. Okay, let's see what's what. There we go. Now where's the sound? No sound at all. That's weird. Okay, the screen's lovely. Okay, where the sound is now. Right, so another little memory card disaster. Turns out when I formatted it, I only formatted it to get 9 minutes footage. So the observant would have noticed there was a fault with the audio board. If I can just grab another one. I think this pin was bent over, so when it plugged in it actually missed it. That was enough to send that one faulty. So it's back in, it's working again, that's fine. I've given it another clean, just get rid of all the sticky flux that was left, so that's now spotless. And I've took the screen out. So, it already had been replaced before I had it, but it just wasn't up to the newness. If we're having a new LCD and somebody's going to buy this, I want to give them the best experience possible. So a new glass screen in there. Say glass, they're not glass, they are hardened plastic. They're definitely stronger than the original plastic lenses that were on these, but these new ones are plastic. We'll still call them glass. There you go. Right, I'm going to just try and solder that back down. Just melt the plastic around it just to hold it in place. Okay, so that's molten plastic reinforced with solder. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to clean this up. Normally I don't really polish these up. I use nothing more than window or glass cleaner, spray it on, give it a good scrub with a J's cloth. These are quite an abrasive cloth, so they do tend to polish up quite well. This time I'm going to use some scratch remover from Turtle Wax. Obviously it's just a teacup, but it is a very, very fine one, so we're going to give it a go. I'm not going to go too heavy-handed with it, because I think if these are over polished, you can ruin the look. So what I'm trying to get is an original shell. If the new owner wants, then they can buy a new one. They're freely available from the same place where I got the audio board, which is Retro 6. They sell new shells in all the colours you can imagine. It's not a massive job then to replace it. So I'm not going mad with this, I'm just going to give it a, just make sure it gets in, try and remove surface scratches. Oh, that could be nasty. You have my work cut out there, and if I do end up ruining it, I'll just use another one, polish it up normally, and then perhaps I will order a new one from Retro 6 myself for the next one. The only thing is, every time you order something, it's another £25 you've got to add to the price. Yeah, unless this comes up stunningly good, I don't think I'll be doing this again. Right, I'm not going to record this, you can see what I'm doing. I'll clear it, and then I'll start recording again when I come to polish it. Okay, finally it's cleaned off. Still some little bits. There we go. So, was it worth it? Nah, not really. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, let's get it back together now. It's a little bit over that side. That's the problem, they don't fit exact. Like the originals. So assembly time. Quick clean of the buttons. Right. So what I'm trying to do is get rid of any moisture that might be left. Now, I'm working in a shed. I'm not in a dustproof laboratory. This is just me in my shed doing my best. So warm it up, make sure all the moisture's gone, and dust on the screen. Right, the very last second, peel this off again. This is just make sure there's no dust, there's no moisture, there's no alcohol left on there. What I worry about is that the screen blooms. Now that peels off. Ready to reassemble. Just give everything a nice little clean, just with a cloth which has been wet with window cleaner. Just make sure the contacts are good. You do get quite a bit of crud on the edges. I mean, the top's really okay. Some of it's not dirt, some of it is actually where the buttons have been bashed over the years. So when I'm working, I don't like to cut all the bad bits out. But I know you don't want to watch me undo this again, so I will skip through it. Just tidying up and realised I hadn't put this back in. That's a little dust protector. It's not great because it's not a tight fit against the LCD, but I guess it'll stop some of the dust getting through. So if there's anything inside the console, and I try to keep everything out if I can, but that's impossible, especially in these conditions. So okay, so to wrap up, RetroKAI LCD screen, is it easier? Yes, it's definitely easier than a McWill, which is the most difficult one that you can do at the moment. The LCD clones from AliExpress are easier than a McWill, but not as easy as this. You still have to solder wires directly to the pins from the board. This one with the guide is brilliant. A little bit tricky to bridge it. I think that might be just how flat the board actually lies on the main board, but still it was overcome quite easily. The quality on all the screens are far superior to the originals, so to recommend one over another is impossible. I think they're all as good as each other. Okay, so we'll call it a day for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found a benefit from the video. I know I have. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, next time I've got something that I'm going to tinker with in the shed. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.